Today we are embarking on a local adventure, back to a place where fishing all started for me over 15 years ago, back when I was learning to tie my first knots and hook my first maggots. This place would soon lead me to catching a European personal best of £50, a UK personal best of £35, predators, prehistoric monsters and even sharks. So come with me to fish a local pit in the middle of a road. But first, let's go to the shop and grab some well needed supplies. Welcome back to another video, guys. We're out here on a nice hot summer's day, so you'll have to excuse the sweat because it's like almost 30 degrees today, really hot, and I cycled here. So I got up this morning and I thought, what can I do? Nice and easy. I thought, do you know what? I'll pack my bag and I'll come to one of the local pits near me. This is a spot that I've fished a few times since I was very young. My dad brought me here when I was just a kid. There used to be good head of tension stuff in here, but now I believe there's just quite a few crucians and some goldfish I've had out of here. Now I don't know what's in here now, but the last time I came here was about 2 years ago, and I did catch some nice goldfish, to be honest. Now, as you can see, probably there's lots of little fish jumping around. We're gonna have to try our best to avoid those because they might become a nuisance. This is literally just on a main road in the middle of a housing estate. So I cycled here because it's not too far, it's about 15 minutes on the bike. So we'll get set up now and see what we can do. What I've got with me today is very light setup, nice and easy. I just packed a rucksack with my tackle box, some micro pellets and some little hookables that I've got, a couple of different flavours of them, and then I brought my telescopic, well it's a pack away into like 4 sections. I usually take it when I go on holiday and stuff like that, and then I just brought a little net with me. So we're just going to put the rod and stuff together now. The approach today, very simple, just going to be using float and a very small hook. We're going to be using our hookable pellets on our hook today and just throwing in some micro pellets. Hopefully we can get them feeding. This rod here I really like, to be fair. I think I paid £40 for it. Really good. Packs away into 4 sections. Perfect for sessions like this when you don't want to bring too much stuff. Very light, and then just bang on a small reel. So we're going to get our float set up now. I'll talk you through how I'm going to do that. Now, I'm not a float fisherman pro by any means. I do like to just keep it nice and easy. I've got some size 14 hooks and some 7-pound line we're going to use for our hook link. I'll simply just balance it out with some shot, and then I think we'll plummet it to the bottom as well, because these nuisance fish might be a bit of a problem if we can't get past those. So, like I say, we've just got a small float here, nice and little. We've got our split shot, which we'll use to balance the float, and then we've got some 7-pound line. Now, I did think that I brought my plummet with me, but it looks like I didn't. So we're gonna have to figure something out. I've got some drop shot and leads maybe I could use, or I can maybe hook it onto one of these small leads that I've got. So first of all, put the float on like so, just so then that's on your line. Now usually your float will tell you how much you need to balance it. This one here says 3 number 4s. I'll just take 2 of them just to secure the float on, and then I'll balance the rest out later once we've got the depth that we want. So we'll just put one of these on either side of the float. That way it stays in place and doesn't move. And that's important because obviously you don't want your float to move on your line if you get a fish. That gives you your indication. And then we'll just take our hook, size 14s, nice and small, because the fish in here are not too big at all, so you want to be able to get the hook in and off. Otherwise you'll not be catching any fish, will you? And we're just going to tie that on with a simple Palomar knot. Again, if you want any tutorials on how to tie your knots, I've got plenty on my socials and even on shorts if you want to check them out. So that's the hook tied on. We'll just cut the tag end off now, and we'll just cut this to maybe a couple of inches. Doesn't have to be anything specific. And just tie a figure of 8 in the bottom, which we will also do on our main line, so we can connect the two like so. And that's our rig made, nice and easy. Now I'm quite excited to fish this pond here I'll put some clips in, but as you can see, even though it's just a wild pit, it's really healthy. It's not full of weeds. There's a nice couple sets of lily pads, really nice water, plenty of fish to be had anyway. So then we'll just tie a figure of 8 in our main line and trim that up. So to connect the two, we're just going to use a loop-to-loop connection knot. So that's our float set up pretty much now. We just need to set the depth. Okay, so since we don't have our plummet today, I'm literally just going to put my hook through this lead here, because at the end of the day, any weight will work. So we'll do that. And then just for our first cast, we just need to guess sort of where we want the depth to begin with. So I'm just gonna simply pull my line up a bit. We've got about 3 foot there, we'll try the first time. Now we're just gonna be fishing just along these lily pads here, because crucian usually like to hide, take cover in like reeds and lily pads or like tree roots and stuff, so we'll plummet to that depth there now. So we can't see our float there, that means it's not deep enough, so we'll just increase the depth on our float. I've added about another foot to that and we cast it back in again. Right, so our float's popped up there, but we might be a little bit too deep, so we'll just back that off a little bit, about half a foot. So we've plumbed that to the perfect depth now, just to where the float sits underneath the surface. So you can just see my float there now, that's about perfect. So we just need to balance the float now so our bait sits nicely. So I've just got these really small shots here. I'm just going to use these to help me balance my float out. So I've just put those at various points down my line and one close to the hook, just so then we can sink the bait fast enough to get past these nuisance fish. So we'll check the float, see if it's balanced, and then we'll get to fishing. As you can see there, the float's still lying flat on the water, so that means we need to add a little bit of extra weight just to pop it up. So we're going to put another number 4 just up by the float, and hopefully that does the trick. So that's popped it up, but I'd like it to be a bit more sat in the water, so I'm just going to add another one just there next to that one there. So that's sitting a bit nicer now, so we'll get our bait on and hopefully we'll catch a few. Just to get the swim going, we're going to throw in a handful of micro pellets to where we're going to be fishing, hopefully bring some of the fish in for us, just a couple of handfuls. And then our bait, we've got these, I've had these for so long, F1 Sweet, bit of a green colour, and we'll just simply put that onto our hook like so. Make sure the point of your hook is showing. My float is sitting quite low there, but I think we might get away with it, because sometimes the crucians can give you a lift bite. Instead of your float going under the water, your float will rise up. Looks like we're getting some bites here. Right, so I'll sit here for a little bit now and I'll see if we can get any fish in. I'll come back if we've had any or if we're going to make any changes. So, little update. I have been really struggling actually. The pellets weren't working very well, but luckily I found a couple of dead maggots on the floor, so I gave that a go and I actually caught a couple of roach. Now someone else did arrive and they was fishing on worm for about an hour and then they left. So I asked them if they had a couple of worms. I've taken the worm and I'm just using very small sections of the worm now, and that seems to be getting me a few more bites. No crucians yet, no goldfish yet, but we're getting bites. So I'm going to stay for a couple more hours or until I've used up all my worm, and we'll see where we're at. So this is what we've had so far, just a couple of roach. Nothing crazy yet, but I'll keep you updated. So, like I say, just got some little bits of worm here and we're literally just snipping off a very small amount that we're just going to put onto the hook and use that. I'm still throwing in my pellets just as feed, just to keep them interested as much as I can, and then using that as my hook bait. I'm not sure why it's working because it's not wiggling or anything. It must be just the scent, but it's working, so let's catch some fish. I've not changed much other than that. We're still fishing on the bottom. I tried fishing at different depths, didn't work, so we've gone back to the bottom and we're just trying this worm. Just throwing in the pellets little and often, and we've already got one. There we go. Nice roach. Cast it back out again. Close to those lilies as we can, and again, a bit more pellets. I think we are getting pestered by the little ones, but I'd rather catch them for now, with a chance of a crucian eventually. It looks like they are eating my pellets because it seems to be what's coming out of the mouth. And again. So I'm just going to chill here for a little bit now. I'll come back when we've had a few more, or if we catch anything nice. So we're just about using up the last of our worm now, so I don't think it'll be very long before we pack up and leave. We have had a few more little roach and stuff, but no crucians yet, no goldfish. But we'll keep trying these last couple of times and then we'll get going. Oh, just what you need. Bloody hit the camera there as well. Happy days, we've still got our worm. They're like rations, these worms. Gotta make the most of them. See if we can get another couple of bites on camera. Seems to have quietened down now as well for some reason. Bloody hell, that is a tiddler. I've had fish fingers bigger than that. Last bit of worm. It's a little bit bigger, this piece, so let's see if we can get a nice one. Oh, looks like we did. Oh yeah. That's a bit better. Look at that. Don't mind catching them. Oh, look at the colour on that. I think that's with it being a wild pit. They've got some lovely colours on them. Beautiful greens, vibrant reds on the fins. Amazing. And I think that's the end of our trip. No more bait left. I'll show you the fish that we've got, but we're going to start packing up now. Just before we head off, guys, it's a bit of an unwritten rule about fishing, but you should always make sure that you clean up your pegs when you leave. Make it as though you never turned up. Now on this little pit, you know, it's not policed, there's no bailiff, so people just seem to leave whatever they like. So I'm going to do this place a favour and pick what I can up and take it home with me and put it in the bin, just to keep places like this nice and tidy, because you want to be able to keep coming here and enjoying your fishing and not having to look at an absolute tip every time you come. So always remember that, guys. Keep tidy and take your stuff home with you. We've had a pretty decent session. It's a good day out. We've had a few bites, nothing to complain about really. Hopefully next time we'll get some crucians and stuff. So I think I'll bring some maggots along with me, since the worm and stuff worked so well today. I got quite lucky being able to get some of those today, so I've got to be grateful. So yeah, we're going to get packed up and cycle home. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe and share this video, and comment if you'd like to see more videos like this. I hope you enjoyed. Let's see the fish we've got. What have we got in there? About 10. That one's quite a nice one. So now we'll just release them. Nice and gently. And there we go. That's the end of the session. Thanks for watching, guys.